I don't remember the last time I painted somebody like famous. I had to like go back and look. Like
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, she's not as famous.
Yeah,
as, like,
yeah. I guess I just mean
people.
like I always try to paint people in the community. I always try to paint somebody that I know or somebody that's not like I don't want to paint like a rapper, right? They already got their fame.
Yeah. It's someone. Is it someone who like inspires you?
Somebody who inspires me. Somebody who deserves more recognition than they've gotten, right? So, like, yeah, Georgia O'Keeffe, she is a famous painter for sure, but like nobody's out here painting Georgia O'Keeffe walls,
right?
You know,
right. True that.
So, like, just painting people who have influenced myself for sure, who have influenced other people who are doing good in the community. Recently painted a mural of a local content creator, influencer. She goes by Izzy Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a healer, so she's very positive and motivating on Instagram, and she goes live every day and she talks about self-love and healing and all of these different things that she practices every day. And so I painted a spread love mural of her, and those are the things that I want to shed light to, right? Those type of people in our community, not necessarily somebody who has passed away and like doesn't. Yes, paying tribute to those people is amazing and great, and that needs to be done, obviously, for sure, but not all the time, right? We shouldn't have to wait to celebrate somebody's life after they've passed. We should be celebrating your community now.
Yeah.
So
it's badass. Let's get started with a little intro here. Welcome to another episode of our TAF podcast. Thanks for being here. Check out the t-shirts, check out our YouTube, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Today, I'm very excited to interview Chelsea Lewinski. She is a muralist and a painter, and you do stuff on Procreate too, right?
Well, that's where I started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
I say where I started. I say that because it's when I started to take art seriously.
Okay. When was that?
2 years ago.
Okay.
Before that, I always like doodled, and like I had a very conventional 9-to-5, if you will. I was a college advisor for 7 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and always loved art ever since I was like in high school, middle school, really, and I used to just draw in my cubicle. I worked at it was a call center. It's where I started. And I would literally talk on the phone for 8 hours and draw in my cubicle. And then 2 years ago, I was like, I really want to take this seriously and invest in my art career, even if it's just a side gig. So I bought a iPad and an Apple Pencil.
Nice.
And I downloaded Procreate 2 years ago, and I just started drawing. Started out like tracing a lot of things, like importing images and like tracing the images and kind of making them my own, and eventually got confident enough to like start doing it on my own, and that's kind of where it all started.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But so you said you were making art before that. You were just drawing on regular paper? Were you painting?
Yeah, like I worked in an office, so I just stole a bunch of like printer paper.
Okay, nice.
Literally nothing serious. Like I would just buy like pencils and like markers from Hobby Lobby or whatever, and I'd have sketchbooks and stuff, but like they were just doodles to me.
I love it when people figure out their workflow at like a 9-to-5 so well that they can do things like draw or like work on some sort of other skill.
Yeah.
It's nice that you had a job that sort of allowed that, I guess.
Totally. Towards the end there, I was definitely pushing it, but for the most part, I did my thing, and I drew when I could on lunch breaks or whatever, and eventually it led me to quit.
Nice. So you quit your job 2 years ago when you got the iPad?
No, I quit my job May 2019, so it's been a little over a year now.
Nice.
Yeah, I quit my job. After I did Procreate for a while, I eventually was like, okay, like you can do digital art, but I knew I wanted to be a painter and like digital art and painting is just like two different avenues, right? Like graphic design and I don't know, fine arts or whatever you want to call it. But I knew I wanted to paint, so I eventually started practicing on canvas more, and I bought a bunch of acrylic paint, and eventually my canvases got bigger and bigger. Started painting portraits, and those got bigger and bigger. And in May, I had a friend who reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, this shop is opening up on Colfax, and they want all of these portraits, and I know that you do good portraits, so would you be interested in doing a mural?" And I was like, "Oh, I've never done a mural before, but yes."
Awesome.
And so I went and bought a bunch of paint at Home Depot, just like, interior paint.
Yeah.
And I did my very first mural at Gold Boys Wholesale. Shout out Gold Boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is Gold Boys?
It's a whole. They do a bunch of stuff. They have like a whole fashion line. It's a smoke shop, like a boutique kind of.
Nice.
They run a bunch of different, businesses within there, but yeah, it's like a boutique. But they wanted, but I did Erykah Badu.
Oh, nice.
Martin Luther King.
I love Erykah Badu.
Yeah, me too.
She's my favorite.
She's amazing. So I did all of these portraits that celebrated Black culture.
Nice.
And in the middle of that week, it took me 7 days to do 8 portraits. They're fairly large.
Whoa.
Yeah. And about halfway through that week, I realized like this is what I want to do with my life. And I quit that week. Before finishing the mural, I quit.
That's so rad.
Yeah, it was terrifying, but very exciting. And like I just knew it. I knew I had to do it. I didn't want to go back to work. Like I think I called out like 3 or 4 days. It's so bad. Don't do that. But I think I called out of my job like 3 or 4 days to finish the mural.
Yeah.
Because like I was just so like embedded in it. Like I just wanted to do it. I didn't want to stop.
Right. That's so awesome.
Yeah, May 2019.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And your portraits are amazing, by the way.
Thanks.
I suck at portraits. I have done, so speaking of Erykah Badu, that's like one of the only portraits I've ever
really
kind of pulled off, sort of.
That's amazing.
But so I wanted to ask you about portraits. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you capture a person's essence? Like, you can get I've noticed at least that you can get like proportion right and all that stuff, but like to really like be like, oh, that's definitely so and so.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but
I know what you mean. Yeah. I think for me, one, anybody can draw. It just takes a lot of practice. Everybody's always like, oh, you're so talented. It's just like, no, I just literally obsessed over this one thing that I wanted to do so bad. And it's just hours and hours of practice, really.
Right.
But for me, whenever I'm drawing somebody, I like to spend a lot of time absorbing that person. So if I'm drawing a musician, I listen to so much of their music.
Sure.
If I'm drawing a different artist or somebody, it really doesn't matter what. I try to get my hands on material to kind of absorb that person. Mm-hmm. If it's somebody I know in person, like
it's a little easier.
Yeah. Then I take time to do what we're doing now, getting to know that person or whatever it is. And for me, when I'm able to do that, I feel like that portrait just comes out way better than somebody I don't know or don't have a connection to.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's circle back to kind of you quitting your job. Now, this is extra ballsy, in my opinion, because you're a single mother.
Yeah.
So how does being a mother inform your art, and like how does it affect it?
It's a tough one. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only a year and a half into this, but for me, I just know that when he's older, I want him to just not be afraid to pursue whatever it is he wants to do. And I can't tell him to do that if I'm miserable at a job that I hate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just leading by example and just showing him like, yeah, it's going to be tough and we're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices, but hopefully in 5 to 10 years, like it all pays off, you know? And so whatever it is he wants to do, if he wants to go to college, if he doesn't want to go to college, if he wants to be an artist, or if he wants to skate, like whatever it is, like you can make a career out of anything.
Yeah.
And like, that's mostly what I'm trying to prove to him.
Yeah. You're leading by example.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're instilling this like autonomy that he's seeing played out.
Yeah.
Through what you do. Yeah.
So I try not to focus on like, the details too much.
Right.
Like, yeah. Oh my God, like how are we going to survive? Like, obviously that's a big detail, but I guess I just mean like, I'm trying to focus on big picture more than anything. And,
sure.
Right now that's what he sees. And right now that's what's important. And I force myself to find a way to make it happen. And I think that when he's older, he'll recognize that too.
And yeah, I think like when you make a courageous leap like that, somehow everything just tends to work out.
Dude, I say that all the time. People are always like, how did you know? How did you know? I'm like, I literally didn't. Like, yeah. I quit with no plan. Barely a savings. You wouldn't even call it a savings. Like, it was literally an in-the-moment decision. Mm-hmm. And, like, you don't know. But if you do it, the universe kind of just shows you the next step. Yeah. And you kind of have to just trust your gut and keep going.
That's super rad.
Thanks.
So is he interested in art at all?
Yeah. He is for sure. I try to drag him to, murals with me all the time and like to the studio and things like that. But he's 12, going to be 13 in November. Oh, and nice. So he's just so caught up with like his friends and,
Sure.
Doesn't want to hang out with mom as much as he used to. So yes, he very much enjoys it. He loves graffiti. Like he loves walking around in Rhino, and he loves it when I'm able to introduce him to like a lot of graffiti writers and things like that. But as far as just like going to murals and stuff, he's like, have fun, mom, but good luck. Yeah. But he does love art. He loves to draw anime. He has his own iPad, draws on Procreate too. So
nice.
Yeah.
I need to get me one of those.
Dude, you do. It's a game changer for sure.
Yeah, I'm between like a laptop or an iPad.
iPad. I think it could do everything that your laptop can.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So tell me about, speaking of like the iPad, mm-hmm. Tell me about your process. Do you create on the iPad first, or is it different every time?
I feel like I mostly start on the iPad first. Yeah, for mm-hmm. sure. I guess it kind of depends on the project, but I import a lot of my reference photos into Procreate and put them on the wall, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I definitely start there. I use my iPad to grid all of my work for sure. Just using technology for your advantage, But as far as like creating concepts and things, it definitely helps to start on the iPad to kind of map out, okay, I want this to be here. And if I'm including different elements like flowers or like whatever it is, to be able to kind of map it out definitely helps. But it's fun to like kind of freestyle it sometimes too. So it kind of just depends on the project, your client, all those things.
Yeah. Did you have any mentors or teachers?
So many. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
This is the shouts portion of the show.
Yes, so many shouts. From the beginning, I got to shout out my boy Rube. I don't know if you know who Rubezilla is.
No.
Another local artist and illustrator in Denver. He was the one that like for sure believed in me first. I don't want to say that, but like pushed me like, girl, you belong on walls. You belong doing murals, and like you need to do this. And he was the person that I mentioned earlier who got me my first mural.
Nice.
So definitely him. My manager Jeremy, obviously,
mm-hmm.
Always encouraged me, was there on every project with me. And then the more and more I got involved in the Denver art scene, the more people I met, and I'm so young in the game that every person I met, they were my teacher at that point.
Totally.
Now I share a studio with Dread God, founder of Crush Walls, Patrick Kane McGregor. I share a studio with them, Ladies Fancy Work Society. And just being in that environment Um, it's crazy how much you just learn from the people that you surround yourself with. And I've literally just started oil painting because of Patrick. He's the one who
Nice.
gave me my very first oils and, all
How do you
those
like
things.
oil?
Very new. I literally just tried it like 2 weeks ago, like a week ago maybe. But it's a lot different than acrylics. But I think I'm gonna like it a lot. It's fun.
Yeah, I just got back into oil recently, and
Yeah?
I'm like, oh yeah, I
You
love
enjoy
it.
it? Yeah, it's
I
a
think
lot
that's
easier to blend, but also I'm like, dry faster.
yeah. Like liquid, about that medium.
No.
It helps dry pretty quick.
Okay.
If you don't use too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure that out. And then so definitely, yeah, those two for sure. And then the person who gave me my very first caps was Hyro.
Oh, nice.
I believe you interviewed him.
Yeah, definitely.
I painted next to him at a mural festival. Which one was it? Rhino Arts Festival back in July. And I painted this huge, like 10 by 10 wall using like just paint and brushes. And he was next to me painting just like this insane skull with remote. And he saw my paintings and he was like, dude, what are you doing with these brushes? He's like, you need to pick up a can. I was like, damn, you're right. So he gave me my first caps, and then, it kind of always stood in the back of my head that I needed to pick up aerosol. And then, do you know who Muck Rock is?
I don't.
Okay, so she's just another insane muralist, street artist. She started back in the 90s, and she's all over California. Yes. She's insane. So yeah, if you in California, you know who Muck Rock is. But she was out here painting, and I followed her story a lot just because she just blew my mind. And I noticed that she was painting on Larimer, and I was like, oh my God, like I need to go meet this girl. So like I raced down there, happened to recognize the building that she was painted at. So I pulled up on her and I was introduced myself, and I was like, you're amazing. Would you be interested in like painting a wall with me? And she was like, yeah, do you have a wall? And I was like, yes. And
Nice.
happened to just find a wall that we could paint at. And I didn't want to paint.
Did you
with
have
her?
a wall beforehand, or
No,
were you
dude,
just like, yeah, I got one?
Yeah, literally, I was like, yo, I got one. And like I hit up everybody I knew, and I was just like, help me find a place for Muck Rock to paint. And so then at this time I was still again painting with brushes, and I just straight up asked her, I was like, I really want to convert to spray paint. And she was like, oh yeah, like I'll show you. So she literally walked me through her process of painting a portrait from beginning to end.
Really?
Yeah, it was
That's
just
so special.
so amazing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like just blew my mind. She painted this amazing Dali Salvador piece, and it changed everything for me. Once I saw it from beginning to end, I was like, I can do that. Like a couple of hours later, I painted my first portrait with some cans, and it was horrible. It was so bad. But it looked like a face, so like it was fine.
Right, yeah. I'm even worse at painting portraits with cans. It's like,
it's tough.
even if
tough.
there's a projector going on, I don't know, somehow mess it up.
Yeah. And then from there I was like determined, like I just wanted to figure out this whole new world. Yeah, and I'd just been painting with cans ever since. So
nice.
That was
so you must have put in a lot of practice between
that was
then, right?
So like my very first large scale portrait with cans was November of 2019.
Wow.
So I've
What's that?
About to hit a year.
Yeah.
Almost.
Less than a year ago?
Yeah, less than a year ago.
And so did you have like a practice wall you could work at, or you just...
Every wall that I had, I just used as practice. And
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Suffered through it. No, I had a lot of people that I was able to turn to and just, ask for tips or tricks or whatever. But self-taught.
Badass.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when you're making a portrait with sprays, do you do the scribble grid?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't in the beginning. The scribble grid was something that I actually learned from Hyro. And that was, I don't know, sometime winter last year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, or maybe early this year. I don't even remember.
It totally blurs together.
It totally blurs together. It's so funny because I remember when I worked my 9 to 5, I always said, like, if I can wake up in the middle of the week and not know what day it is or not care if it's Friday or Monday, then I feel like I've made it.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
Me too.
And I love it.
So much fun.
It is so much fun. But yeah, no, I shadowed Richie for a portrait that he did inside of my mom's business, and that changed the game for me too.
Mm-hmm. So are you working from like just blocking in colors to getting like finer and finer detail with like skinnier and skinnier caps? Is that how it works? I mean,
yeah. I don't know. I feel like again, I'm so new that I'm still figuring out my process, right? Like I'm still trying to figure out what works for me, and I feel like the last couple of walls I've attempted different approaches and different things to try and figure out what works best for me and what style I'm trying to develop. And at this point, I feel like I'm just so early in the game that I'm just really trying to focus on honing in like my skill set versus like, yes, I know I need a process, but like, I don't know, it just takes time. So
absolutely.
I don't know, just trying to figure out what works for me.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
So I know obviously you do mostly murals.
Right now, yeah. Because it's warm.
Yeah. Or it will be again.
Yes, right.
But so did you sell any pieces like paintings before you started doing murals? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember
it all started in the studio. The first piece of art that I sold was when I still worked in the office, and a coworker was like, "You're getting so good, like draw me." And I charged her like $30 to draw her on my iPad.
Nice.
Yeah. And from there, a lot of other people ended up like purchasing portraits from me. And that was really cool because a lot of my coworkers, people that I still keep in touch with now, just are so encouraging and supported me heavily back then. I mean, still now, but like a lot of the coworkers that I shared space with supported me through a lot of art shows and things like that.
Nice.
But yeah, the first piece of art that I sold was a digital piece. And then my first canvas that I sold, I honestly don't even remember. But I was doing I remember working on like 4 or 5 different canvases at a time. And I don't know. It's all such a blur. I wish I could remember the first canvas that I sold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice.
It's a great feeling every time. I know that.
You're like, someone out there has the answer.
Shout out that person.
But you don't remember if it was like did you have any shows in a gallery, or did you just sell it online?
No. Let's see. I did participate in 2 art shows prior to quitting my job. And they were the Raw Artists shows. Have you heard of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did one of those way back in the day.
Yeah. Me too. I did 2 of them actually.
Nice.
And I wouldn't necessarily recommend going that route.
Yeah.
However, I can't even be mad because it did introduce me to some people. It did encourage me to put my stuff out there. But I just would never recommend paying to be inside of an art show.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do.
Yeah. I gotta shout out my friend Eliza Ross real quick.
Yeah, please.
Because she got me on my first Raw show, and she was like, "You have to sell tickets." And I was like, "I didn't sell any tickets." And she's like, "Okay, you can still come."
Aww.
So
that's so nice.
Shout out to that. But yeah, like you're kind of like, for people who don't know, you're kind of like they basically give you tickets to sell, and you have to sell whatever 20 tickets or something like that.
So it's like 20 tickets, or else you don't get to be in the show.
Yeah, and I had just moved out to Denver, and so I knew about 2 people.
Oh,
I think Mark was one of them, actually. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember
you were at that show, actually.
I've been to a couple of Raw shows.
There you go. I remember literally like forcing coworkers, like, you have to buy a ticket. I will give you free prints if you buy a ticket. Like, I was bribing people to buy them.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You're, again, basically paying to play.
Yes.
And, as a young artist, I was like, that's probably how it works. And
Yeah.
come to find that it's
No, it's
not
not
really.
really. Nope.
I don't want to throw any shade, but yeah,
And
fuck
again, I
that.
can't throw shade either because it did help me build up some
Right.
confidence. And I met like my best of friends there, like Ruben and Jeremy.
Oh, nice.
Literally my team, and I met them at a Raw show.
That's
So,
cool. It's cool how like life unfolds that way. Like
yeah.
as like, especially I think as an artist or a creative person, like you just never know. You might meet the person that changes your life at the
Dude.
next thing you go to.
If I could give any advice to anybody trying to do this, it would be to show up to everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you possibly can. Even if you don't want to go, like, bring your art and show your art as much as any opportunity that you can when you're getting started, because every time I did, I always got introduced to my next commission. I always got introduced to the next person who would give me an opportunity to be at another show or something like that.
Totally.
So like show up for yourself every time.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. So would you say that, so when you pulled up on Muck Rock when she was doing her mural, you just hopped out and you were like, hey, I suck at that. Like,
dude, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. Like, she's just this amazing artist, and like I've followed her, you know, and like just I never thought that I would get the opportunity to meet her. And like she was just painting right there where I love to grab coffee, and so it was just like I had to go and introduce myself to her.
Oh wow,
yeah. And she was on a lift, and it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, she's probably like gets this all the time, so it's just like, hey, I'm Chels.
Nice.
Yeah, like I don't know, I just introduced myself, told her I was a big fan of her work, asked her if she was painting anywhere else and if she'd be willing to like let me watch or shadow her or anything. And she was, you know, painting a big wall, and she was just like, no, like I don't have anything right now, but if you know of any walls, you know, let me know. And I was like, I probably have something, like, can I have your number and I'll let you know? And she gave me her number. Still have it in my phone now. Shout out Muck Rock.
Yeah. Mark just showed me her work, and
she's insane, dude.
I don't know how I haven't seen or heard about it.
Yeah, she's so
It's
cool.
really badass.
The cool thing that blows me away about Muck Rock is she will do like 4 to 5 things in a day.
And then also anything and everything.
Anything and everything. Like she can paint
I love
anything.
That she's painting whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah, literally, she paints anything.
Yeah.
And you'll see her, like, her story on Instagram, and she's painting like 4 things in one day. Like, I don't even understand how she does it. It's cool.
That's really rad.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically,
goals.
Just put yourself out there.
Yes.
And you'll probably be rewarded. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is there what's been one of your biggest challenges along the way?
Oh God. There's been so many. A lot of ups and downs. Last year was one of the most fulfilling years of my life, but also the most challenging part of my life ever. I learned a lot about myself in a sense of like managing money, learning how to be a hustler, because in this you have to always be hungry for it. You don't get days off. And I think that's what a lot of people assume about my life or any artist's life is like, oh, you get to just paint all day and like hang out with all your friends and all these things. It's like, yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It is. It really is. But there's just so many sleepless nights. There's so many just like moments of like just stress. Like, where's my next job going to come from? And like all of these things that are heavily waiting on you. And last year I gave up my car, gave up my apartment. I was homeless for like 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It was tough. It was really, really tough. But within those dark times, like I learned what not to do. I learned where I can push myself and, you know, what areas I still need to work on. But I don't know. It's just a lot of balance.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of self-awareness too. It's like sometimes you can push yourself and you're like, up for it, and then other times you got to like really check in with like
Yeah,
what you want and versus what you need, you know what I mean?
absolutely. And like mental health and just physical exhaustion and all of those things all play a part in it. And yeah, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy.
Is there anything outside of like art that you do to keep yourself balanced or healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of good friends in my life. My son, who's
Mm-hmm.
12. I have a really,
Shouts.
yes, shout out Mateo. My dog. But no, I obviously you have to keep a healthy diet and,
Mm-hmm.
I exercise when I can and all of those good things, sure. But just being with my little family is usually what I'm doing when I'm not doing art.
Absolutely.
So spending time at home, I spend a lot of time at home when I'm not painting just because, I don't know, it's like my sacred little temple and I've
Mm-hmm.
created just like my own little safe space. And
Nice.
me and my son enjoy doing Legos together and, we both longboard, so we'll longboard around 5 Points a lot.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, what most 12-year-old boys is what I spend my time doing.
Yeah.
Outside of, art. But I don't know. Yeah, just spending time at home mostly keeps me
Nice.
sane.
Yeah, yeah. Because as important as art is, I think it's like just important, or maybe even more important, to like spend time with the people you love.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think when I first quit my job, I remember my son saying to me, he goes, "Mom, you work way more now than you did before when you worked at a regular job."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Dude, I know, I'm sorry." But the fact that I can take him with me whenever he wants to be there with me, or the fact that I can be home when I need to be,
Right.
the fact that I am there to, I don't know, I have that autonomy to make my own schedule.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I work a lot, but
Sure.
also I know I can quit, or not quit, but like
take a day off if
yeah,
you need to.
yeah.
Like if he's really sick or something,
Yeah,
and you gotta
yeah.
take
Don't
a day
have to
off.
call into anybody,
You
which
can
is
just
really
be like,
nice.
this mural is gonna take one day longer,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Exactly.
My friend Morgan Mandala, shout out. She has this beautiful analogy that she busted out one time, where she said like an artist is like a restaurant, because you're the owner, the general manager, the line cook, the dishwasher, the server, the hostess, the person who mops up every night.
Literally.
And like you're going to be working a lot more, I think, especially in the beginning when you're like trying to figure things out. And yeah, I just wanted to bring up that analogy because I thought
It's
it was
perfect analogy. It really
Yeah.
is. And it's true. You will work a lot in the beginning, and something that I'm working towards is landing bigger jobs so that I can, have a week off, or
Right, yeah.
I don't have to stress about like, oh my God, I need to find a commission, or I need to find a canvas in between these murals because I have these bills or whatever it is. So that's something that I'm working towards now, is just building my name, building my reputation so that, I can sell a canvas or a mural and be able to sit on that comfortably.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
I'm like scraping at the end of the month.
Totally. Do you have any like business advice for younger artists?
Whew. I guess my biggest advice would, it's nothing that we don't already know, right? Like keeping ahead of your bills, but more so when you're an artist or any entrepreneur, because you don't know when your next check is going to come. It's not a steady income, right?
Right.
Sometimes you're doing really, really well, and then there's months where you're not getting anything at all. So just staying ahead of your bills, paying your rent always so you don't become homeless. And just not being afraid to be broke. Like, make sacrifices. Like, you don't need to go out and buy coffee all the time, or just like little things, you know what I'm saying? Just being very frugal with your money.
Right.
And I think that's something that I learned last year a lot, was just being frugal and like making those sacrifices, because I was making really, really good money as a college advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And so from going from that to basically nothing it taught me a lot about myself and the sacrifices that I needed. But I live a very minimalistic life right now.
Nice.
And I
Yeah.
love it. It's very like stress-free, if you will.
Yeah. I feel like the coffees I make are like way better than
Right?
anywhere
Yeah.
I'd ever go, you know?
Absolutely. Sometimes I'm super disappointed when I go out and spend $5 on a coffee and I'm like,
Yeah.
my coffee at home's way better.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to be said for like, you know, having someone make you a little thing
Sure.
and just having it with you while
Yeah,
you're
it just
walking
like
around.
feels good.
Yeah. Like, ooh, this is warm.
See, you just have to buy those to-go cups.
Right, exactly.
There you go.
That's how you're gonna problem solve.
There you go.
And then you can feel like special when you're out and
Mhm.
about. Okay, that's great advice.
To-go coffee, guys.
Yeah. Just don't. Yeah, that is a super important point. I think like, don't just be spending your money on bullshit.
Right.
You know,
Don't need it.
because like it's something that maybe anyone should do anyway. But I think like when you are a creative person who doesn't know when their next paycheck is coming from, it's something that you realize that you absolutely have to do,
Absolutely.
or you're not going to have enough money for the 6-pack of Montana 94s that you need next
There you
week,
go.
or you're not going to have enough money to
Yes.
get the water from being shut off or whatever
Absolutely.
it is.
Also would say like whenever you are working with a client, whether it's a mural or a canvas or whatever it is, always calculate, your supplies into, the price that you're giving your client, just because, and then some, because you always want to have something left over to put back into your supplies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
You'd rather have more paint left over than not enough.
Mhm.
So just building up that too.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah, I think like spending money on supplies, there's this weird thing, like this like momentum you gain. I know this isn't scientific at all, but like you make money and then you spend it on supplies and then you're like, oh shit, I don't really have that much money right now because of that.
Mhm.
But then like the next painting you sell will be like twice as much as the last one. And
Yes.
it just keeps going.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like keeping a like basketball spinning on your finger or something. You gotta keep
Just keep spinning it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise
definitely.
it'll fall off. But yeah, so let's see, what else do I want to ask you? Oh yeah, do you have a purpose behind your art? Like why make art at all?
I think it's just a universal language, right?
Mhm.
It's something that we can all connect to. And whether you understand what you're looking at or you don't, you feel something when you look at it.
Mhm.
And or maybe you don't. I don't know. But I guess to me personally, if I can make anybody feel anything when they look at my art, then my job is done.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good feeling or a bad feeling, if you can pull emotion out of somebody, I think that's the purpose of art in general, right? Is like you're communicating a message and you're doing it without using words. And I don't know, there's just something really, really beautiful about that, being able to communicate without using words.
Yeah. It transcends language, culture.
Yeah.
All those things.
Again, I was super nervous to even do something like this. I'm just not a person that's always been good with my words or expressing myself vocally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do art. And we talked a little bit about that before we came in here. But like, I did art as a cop out to not have to do that, right? Like I always wanted to just communicate what I wanted to say on a canvas. Obviously now the more and more traction I get as an artist and the bigger I get, I realize that what you say about your art is just as important as what you're painting. Mm-hmm. And it's important to communicate that to your crowd because we all have a message, we all have a voice, and it's so important to use that to uplift our communities, to uplift our youth, and whatever your message is, whether you are an activist or, you're supporting the youth or whatever message you're trying to portray, like make it known, like use your voice. Like we're all here, we're all surviving. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really important that if you have a tool and you have a platform that you're using it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to express yourself for sure.
Yeah.
So what are you most passionate about right now? What project are you most passionate about coming up?
Let's see. I have a few projects coming up. Right now, I'm focused on crush walls, which I will be collaborating with Hyro.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, super
Nice.
excited for that. It'll be our first wall that we've ever painted together. Um, I guess I shouldn't say that. We did the Be a Good Person wall off of Larimer Street in collaboration. It was him, myself, Dread God, and Justin Spire. We did that wall together, but it'll be our first wall collaborating, just us two. So I'm very excited for that. He's an amazing artist, and I have, again, a lot to learn from him. So we'll see how that goes. And then right after Crush, I think I have a day off, and then I'm doing another collaborative wall with Westward Magazine, and that'll be with Jer, Anna Charney, and Hyro again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we all have very different styles, so I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And then after that, I'll be traveling to San Francisco for another wall out there.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's a law firm out there that wants to get Cesar Chavez painted, so
sweet.
I'll be out there for a little over a week, which I'm really excited about.
Awesome.
But really, I'm truly so excited to get back in the studio. It's been so busy with like murals and everything, and it's been so good that I've been able to develop that side of my career. But I'm really, really excited to get back to like just painting canvases and doing art shows and things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to just, this is what I do basically most of the time, is just lock myself in the studio.
Yeah.
And just like go in on a canvas.
It's going to be so weird to like switch back to that, like learning new habits. Cause right now I'm just so used to like waking up and packing up my cans and going, right? And being on a wall outside for 10 hours or however long it is.
Totally.
But now it's just like when winter comes, you have to switch up the whole vibe. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the solitude, if you will.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a kind of a dualistic, like different schedules depending on the season.
Yeah. It's like when you're working on murals, you are usually surrounded by a lot of people. It could be kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a different aspect of, that side of my career. But when you're in a studio and you're able to just blast music and, get in your zone, do whatever it is you do, whether you're drinking or mushrooms or whatever it is to hone in on your artistic, skill, or maybe you don't do any of that. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But just, I guess what I'm saying is just being within yourself and turning inward and like letting that flow out. I miss that.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. So do you you microdose? Like what's up? Yeah.
Yeah. I love to microdose. I did it.
Same.
I did it for 30 days at the beginning of quarantine.
Nice. That's a good way to keep like from freaking out, I think, too.
Yeah. I've done like trips and stuff like that, and it's amazing,
Yeah, sure.
But when all the quarantine happened, I noticed that I was like drinking a lot more, and I caught myself, and I was like, "Girl, like slow down."
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people from my experience and from the people that I've talked to is definitely a slippery slope for everybody. Just being home, just bored. So,
do you feel like? See, I have this kind of feeling that like COVID kind of put the whole world, at least for a little bit, in like an artist's shoes, because people were like, when's my next paycheck coming from? And I'm like,
just another day.
I feel like very privileged to say this, but like I was like loving it for the first like month or so, because I was just doing the same thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like come off as insensitive to people who struggle through that, but
no, not at all.
I think it kind of shifted people's consciousness into like what it's sort of like to be someone who doesn't know where their next paycheck's coming from.
Right. It absolutely. There was a point where I did come to that realization. At first, I was nervous because when everything did go on lockdown, I think like 3 or 4 of my jobs got canceled.
Oh yeah.
Just because businesses didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't want to spend the money.
Sure.
They'd rather save it just in case, like type thing. So I was really nervous and I didn't have much work. And I know a lot of people were very frugal with their money. Art was not the first thing they were looking to buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going after the toilet paper.
God, that was so ridiculous.
But I turned to drinking a little bit, and I was
Sure.
bored, and I was living with roommates at the time, and we were all kind of just feeding off of that. And then that was when I was like, all right, you need to do something, because you're not gonna go out and find another job. Like, art is what you're gonna do, so figure it out.
Right.
And that's when I actually started microdosing, and I did it every day for 30 days, and it really pulled me away from the drinking. It helped me to develop a new relationship with alcohol. It helped me to develop a new relationship with my work. I felt so much more productive and focused, and just like, I don't know, it changed my life. And now I do it, 3 times a week, I would probably say.
Yeah. Do you weigh it out and stuff?
No, I kind of just go for it.
Yeah. Cool. Same. Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. No, but I do it in the morning. It's such a good way to start the day.
Agree.
It's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I put it in a cup of coffee.
Oh,
actually.
nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
I've done it with tea, but
Yeah.
nice.
You just blend it up.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah. So just to let everyone know, it's completely legal what we're talking about.
Yes.
The People's Republic of Denver is a very nice place to live. Mushrooms are decriminalized. Shouts.
Shouts. Big shouts.
Big shouts. So yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. Tell people where they can find you, and what you already told us you're doing Crush next week.
Yeah,
In the
Crush.
next week.
Yep. Crush Wall starts on Monday the 14th
Mm-hmm.
through the 20th.
Nice long week-long festival.
Yes, nice
Sweet.
week-long festival. So many great artists out there, so definitely roll by Rhino Arts District if you're in Denver. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Chelsea Lewinski. Lewinski with an I, not a Y.
We'll be sharing all that in the
Sounds good.
description and stuff.
Also on Facebook, chelsealewinski.com.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Very nice meeting you, talking to you today. Yes. All right, and thanks everybody for watching. Please remember to tell all your friends about us, and holler at us on YouTube. Peace.